2021 was an amazing year here at VINwiki, and we cannot thank you guys enough for all of the support. This year we got 107 million video views, which put us over 500 million total views since we launched the channel back in 2017. We gained 195,000 subscribers, and that put us over 1.5 million. We had 29 videos reach a million views in the last year, which took us to almost 120 million view videos. We had almost 2,000 years of watch time, which translated into some great growth in the VINwiki app. We picked up 70,000 new registered app users. We went past 4 million user-contributed posts, and we've got more than 6 billion connections between cars using the list feature in the app. So if you haven't already, please do download the VINwiki app. We're here to make entertaining car story content, but ultimately we want people to understand that we're trying to change the way the world looks at automotive history by downloading our app. Now, at the end of each year, I try to do a video like this where I kind of run through smaller updates and things that pertain to stories that you'll be familiar with, but that don't necessarily mean there's enough content there to make a whole extra video about. And the thing that everybody's been asking me about literally for the last year now is what is the latest with the El Chapo McLaren F1? Of course, I'm talking about the chassis 39, not owned by El Chapo, but one of his most prolific drug runners, Humberto Ojeda, that disappeared into Western Mexico a long time ago. And I've been chasing the car for some time. Last year, we made some content about different things that I knew about it, different tips that I'd gotten, and honestly, we didn't get very far. Now, over the last year, I've had several really good conversations about the car, and one of them was with an attorney that had represented the Ojeda family out of Miami in a civil forfeiture case involving some real estate. And they've been doing different things. They are still very active, and I have heard through the grapevine that they are aware of VINwiki and aware of me and aware of my interest in the car, and they may have had some conversations about whether or not they could take my money and kill me. But I know that they know that we want the car, and I do believe that it is still tucked away somewhere in Mexico. Now, just a few days ago, I got a message from somebody right after we'd made the bounty hunt video about different cars we were looking for. This guy told me that his girlfriend was vacationing in Monterrey, Mexico, and had sent him a Snapchat message of the car. And he immediately recognized it, and when I sent some pictures, I was like, can you just show your girlfriend these pictures? Because I guess Snapchat didn't store the picture or video or whatever it was on her phone or his phone, so they didn't have anything to show me. Because quite honestly, I have not seen a new picture of this car that seems to have been taken in the last few years. I've heard many rumors that it drives, I've heard many rumors that it doesn't, and I've heard many people say they have seen it, but nobody has a photo. So if anybody has any information, like I mentioned, it's really a name your price circumstance, but I had a couple other people mention what were probably scam things. I offered a couple people many hundreds of dollars for real photos they claimed to have had, but nothing really got anywhere. The only thing that really happened this year that was pertinent enough to make a video about was the attempted scam, the guy that offered me a kit car for $2.5 million out of Mexico. So nothing huge there, but we did get some amazing leads off of the video that we made last week with the bounty hunt for different cars. We got a really good lead on the Miura SV that Tamarian's looking for. I know a lot more about the Mercy that I'm looking for out of the Philippines. It's got a full Liberty Walk body kit on it, and it still definitely is there. So I'm chasing a few channels to get to it. We got an amazing lead on the Impala. We think we may have found the Urus and maybe the Aventador S Roadster. So I think some rewards are definitely going to be going out, and we thank you guys so much. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link in the description. If you find any of these cars, please let us know. There are bounties available. Oh yeah, and the Lightning Strike Enzo, I've got a lead on it. So I'm excited about what might be to come. Now, a lot of you also asked about what happened to my cars. I sold 9 of them when I did my kind of garage sale, trying to clean everything out. I was trying to liquefy funds to be in a position to buy, I'll be honest, a really bad Bugatti. And that has not happened yet. I am still chasing it, but I'll explain a little bit more of that when I tell you in a few weeks what I did buy that's on its way here. There's actually a couple of cars on their way here, but it's not a Bugatti, but it is really awesome and something that I've wanted for quite some time. And so I have shuffled the garage up a good bit. I still have my LP640, the Verde Draco car. I still have the Scud, still the Cannonball cars and stuff like that. But I did sell the SLR. It went to Bulgaria. I sold the Gallardo Spider, the flood car from Car Trek 1. That went to Patrick Kupolari of New on Amazon. I sold sold the 996, I sold the Cayenne, as I mentioned in the previous videos, I sold the S55. Obviously, I sold the VINwiki cheap Lambo, and I am pleased to say that Hannah made it home. She and her fiance went to the rehearsal dinner the next day, they got married, and they are currently on their honeymoon, road tripping a Mini down the Pacific Coast Highway. And so be sure to follow them on Instagram to learn more, and as soon as they get back, I'm told they are setting out to transform the Lambulance. So there's some empty space in the garage, but it'll be filled up very, very soon. I also have to mention that we had so much fun over the last 2 years filming Car Trek series. We shot in 12 states, 33 episodes, 6 mini-series, over 1,000 minutes of edited content. And it's been such an awesome thing because we didn't do it with the backing of a network or a studio or anything like that. Literally, it just started when Freddie and I were sitting around my fire dreaming about what we might be able to do. And so thank you guys so much for watching that. I hope you enjoyed our 6th series, which just finished running on Tavares' channel. And we're starting to figure out what the 7th one might be now. Now, a lot of you had asked why a couple of our videos that we had released back in 2020 disappeared this year, and those are 2 videos that pertain to the claimed solo cannonball record from Fred Ashmore in the rented Ford Mustang. Now, when we released that video originally, we did so with a little bit more haste than we normally would because we'd gotten a request from Road and Track to do a simultaneous release with an article that they were doing. We'd done that previously with some of Doug and Arnie's records and stuff like that, and so it generally made sense to do that because they would both kind of feed each other traffic. And so I told them when they asked, I said, look, you know, this guy doesn't really have any proof that he did this, right? Now, Fred was a respected member of the cannonball community. He'd won the C2C Express and participated in a lot of events, helped a lot of us out with different things. And so none of us really believed he was lying, but the way that he described what he'd done and what he had provided to me up until that point didn't by any means prove that he had done it. And he was familiar enough with sort of the craft of cannonball to know that there is kind of an evidentiary expectation when you make a claim like that. Now, he said that when he came, he was going to have the undoctored photos because what he gave me were all like either screenshots or, you know, cropped photos that no longer had the metadata. And that can be one of the most compelling pieces of evidence if you have a picture taken at the Red Ball that's tagged with the location and all the information that your phone will add to the file when you take it, as well as some at the Portofino and some along the way. That's a pretty compelling case. He didn't have any of that because all the photos had been doctored. And so when he showed up and didn't have those, I talked again to Road and Track, but they wanted to push forward and they wanted to release it. And so we decided to release it as well. But over the course of the next year, many people sort of pointed out some issues and had some questions and really were wondering what we had seen. And when I had to keep saying nothing, and I kept asking Fred to provide the undoctored photos that he said existed and he never would, I eventually just decided we needed to take the videos down because I didn't want to be propagating something that I wasn't necessarily sure that I believed happened. I don't have any proof that he didn't do it, but I definitely don't have enough to feel comfortable having it on the channel. And so that's why we took those videos down. We also got some interesting news from Manhattan Leasing. Now, you'll recognize the name Manhattan Leasing from several videos that I've mentioned them in regarding us finding their stolen Lamborghini Gallardo Superleggera. We recovered the car for them several years ago, back in 2016, and they had told me that they were going to give me a $5,000 reward for finding their $130,000 car. They never did, and so I had mentioned in the story about recovering it and other exotic car financing things and stuff like that, that I wasn't huge fans of these guys, but since then, Manhattan Leasing has sold and it is now Manhattan Funding, and they wanted to make right on that wrong, and so they did pay me the $5,000 this year. So I have to thank Manhattan Funding for making that situation right, and we are now continuing to look for more cars for more banks, and hopefully us and you guys get some rewards in the future. Last year, I also mentioned that we had heard that Kimmy from the Prostitute Lamborghini video was going to be possibly getting out early. I think she's been behaving herself, and we have been in kind of third-party contact with her over the last few months, and I believe that she is going to be out sometime next year, and she says that she's very excited to come share her side of that story, which I think will be very, very exciting. Now, regretfully, I do have some bad news about 2 veteran VINwiki storytellers. 2 of them passed away this year. Eric Keller of EAG restorer and maintainer of everything BMW M cars, told some amazing stories. Unfortunately, he passed away this year. Also, Richard Hoskins, a good friend of Rob Pitts, the professor from the Hot Rods and Happy Hour radio show, he passed away recently as well. I know it's been a very, very hard year on a lot of us, but we will miss them dearly, and we love that their stories get to live on. So thank you guys so much for another great year at VINwiki. We've got a lot of fun things to come in 2022. We appreciate all our sponsors, we appreciate all our viewers, and we can't wait to see you next year.